Chinese native of the Visayas region of the Philippines. A boy catechist who went with Spanish Jesuit missionaries from the Philippines to the Ladrones Islands in the western North Pacific Ocean in 1668. The mission was to evangelize the natives. In that century, the Jesuits in the Philippines used to train and employ young boys as competent catechists and assistants in their missions. The Ladrones at the time was part of the old Diocese of Cebu. Life in the Ladrones was hard. The provisions for the mission did not arrive regularly. The jungles were too thick to cross. The cliffs were very stiff to climb, and the islands were frequently visited by devastating typhoons. Despite the hardships, the missionaries persevered, and the mission was blessed with many conversions. The first mission residence and church were built in the town of Aganal in the island of Guam. Subsequently, the islands were renamed Marianas by the missionaries in honor of the Blessed Virgin Mary and of the then Queen Regent of Spain, Maria Ana, who was the mission's benefactress. But very soon, a Chinese quack named Choco, envious of the prestige that the missionaries were gaining among the natives, started to spread the talk that the baptismal water of the missionaries was poisonous. The evil campaign of Choco was supported by other natives. They began to persecute the missionaries, many of whom were killed. The most unforgettable assault happened on April 2, 1672, the Saturday just before the Passion Sunday of that year. At around 7 o'clock in the morning, Pedro, by then already about 17 years old, and Padre Diego Luis de San Vitores came to the village of Tumhom in Guam. And there, they were told that a baby girl was recently born in the village. So they went to ask the child's father, named Matapang, to bring out the infant for baptism. But Matapang angrily refused to have his baby christened. Matapang shouted that he was angry with God and was already fed up with the Christian teachings. During Matapang's brief absence from his hut, Padre Diego and Pedro took the chance of baptizing the infant with the consent of the Christian mother. When Matapang learned of the baptism, he became even more furious. He hurled spears first at Pedro. The lad skirted the darting spears with remarkable dexterity. Witnesses said Pedro had all the opportunity to escape, but he did not want to leave Padre Diego alone. Those who personally knew Pedro believed that he would have subdued his fierce aggressors and would have freed both himself and Padre Diego if only he had some weapon. But Padre Diego never allowed his companions to carry arms. Finally, Pedro got hit by a spear on the chest and fell to the ground. Another native attacked him and finished him off with a blow on the head. Padre Diego could not do anything except to raise a crucifix and give Pedro the final sacramental absolution. After that, the assassins also killed Padre Diego. Matapang took the crucifix of Padre Diego and pounded it with a stone while blaspheming God. He and his accomplice denuded the bodies of Pedro and Padre Diego, dragged them to the edge of the shore, tied large stones to their feet, brought them on to the sea, and threw them into the deep. Those remains of the martyrs were never to be found again. But the faith that was planted in the Marianas in 1668 did not die with Padre Diego, Pedro, and the first missionaries. It remained. It survived. It grew, thanks to the blood of the martyrs and the perseverance of the succeeding missionaries. On September 17, 1902, the Marianas became an apostolic prefecture and was separated from the old Diocese of Cebu. On October 14, 1965, Guam became a diocese by the name of Diocese of Agana. On March 8, 1984, Agana became an archdiocese. When Agania was preparing for its 20th anniversary as a diocese, the 1673 beatification cause of Padre Diego Luis de San Vitores was rediscovered in the old manuscripts and taken up anew until Padre Diego was finally beatified on October 6, 1985. It was his beatification that brought the memory of Pedoro to our day. The endeavor was rewarded when, on March 5, 2000, Pedro Calungsod was beatified by Pope John Paul II at St. Peter's Square in Rome. In his homily during the beatification, the Pope said, "From his childhood, Pedro Calungsod declared himself unwaveringly to Christ and responded generously to his call. Young people today can draw encouragement and strength from the example of Pedro, whose love of Jesus inspired him to devote his teenage years to teaching the faith as a lay catechist." On October 21, 2012, Pedro Calungsod will be canonized as the second Filipino saint. The announcement followed the approval by Pope Benedict XVI of the canonization of Calungsod. Pedro Calungsod will be the second Filipino to be canonized in the history of the Catholic Church after Pope John Paul II canonized Lorenzo Ruiz de Manila in 1987.